Hello and welcome to Coffee Lovers TV. On the show today, I'm going to show you how to make some of the easiest, quickest, and best iced coffee that you ever have using the Cold Wave. Now, this is probably going to be the quickest and simplest demonstration and review of a product ever because this thing is really simple and it's really excellent. Before I get into the Cold Wave, let me just quickly go over iced coffee. There are generally two major ways that you can make iced coffee at home, or really that you'll find iced coffee made in a cafe. The one that you're probably familiar with most is cold brew. Now, cold brew is, if you're not familiar with it, you take coffee grounds, you stick them in a container, you add room temperature water, and you let it sit for 12 to 24 hours. Sometimes people put it in their fridge, what have you. And during that time, a lot of coffee is extracted, and you get this rich, deep, smooth coffee drink. Now, there are a couple downsides to that. So first off, it takes a long time to make. You have to plan ahead. Secondly, and probably most importantly to a lot of people, is you're not getting the full taste of the coffee in a cold brew. You really need hot water. There's a lot of compounds, soluble compounds in coffee that are responsible for a lot of really good taste, which require heat in the water to bring out. And you're just not going to get that in a cold brew. So a cold brew is just missing a lot of taste of coffee. But let's say you want an iced coffee that does have as many of the flavors as possible. So you're going to brew hot. And then you have the option of the Japanese ice method, which is something that I have enjoyed using for a long time. And I made a video on that, which I'll link below. And that method's very simple. It's pretty much used with any kind of pour over, any kind of paper filter method where you're pouring water into the grounds and it drips through below. You could do this with a French press as well, but basically the Japanese ice method involves adding ice to the carafe that the coffee is brewing into, and then you use less water on top. Sometimes you might alter that slightly, make the grinds finer. In some cases, it's essentially like brewing a concentrate and then diluting it. You can make a really good cup of coffee with that, but regardless of the exact technique you use, you're still creating a coffee that's not fully or properly extracted. So it's not the best possible coffee you can get. It also takes a bit of thinking. You've got to measure out how much ice you need to use. If you mess up the ice ratio too much, then you can just end up with a really bad cup of coffee. So it's not the ideal method either. So what's the Goldilocks zone? Well, that's where the Cold Wave comes in. So right now, I'm actually gonna demonstrate this really quick because it takes no time at all. And then I'll tell you a bit about what this product does, what I've learned from it, and that sort of thing. So first I have to brew a batch of coffee, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So I've got my batch of coffee that I've brewed hot, brewed fresh. This could be done with any brewing method. I've done this with the Kalita Wave because that's what I use these days. And you could do it with anything. This could be right off of just an auto drip machine. This could be your pot right off your machine that you usually use. Could be AeroPress, could be whatever it is. And you're gonna see why. I'm just gonna show you. Let's make this into iced coffee. So, hot coffee goes in, up to 16 ounces at a time. Careful not to overflow. And then now all we're gonna do is wait 2 minutes. So I'm gonna leave this here. I'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, so we have iced coffee now. It's that simple. All we did is we brewed a regular hot batch of coffee, poured it in here, and added the ice blocks, and now, or the insert as it were, and now I can just pour straight from here. Oh, that is cold and delicious. I realized I probably could have done a temperature reading before brewing, just to show you that this really does in fact work. I'm not trying to trick you. I'm not saying it's cold when it's not cold. So I'm gonna do a quick reading now of the fully chilled batch. The temperature in the bottom left is the temperature of the coffee right now. So all the way down to 40 degrees from having just been brewed. It was probably about 180 2 minutes ago. And now, it's so full of flavor, yet it's cold. Okay, so you might be sitting here going, why do I need this device when I could just brew the coffee hot like regular and then let it cool off? Well, there's two things. If you're gonna let it cool off without adding any ice, it's gonna either take a really long time, or if you decide to stick it in your fridge, then you're going to be doing really bad things to all the food in your fridge, sticking a really hot thing in there. So this takes literally just 2 minutes, right off the brew, and all you have to do is stick this insert into the brew. And this is 100-ish, I think maybe exactly 100 of these tubes, and they're filled with purified water and air. Air so that when the water freezes and expands, it doesn't burst open the tubes. The first time you get this, when this is like at room temperature, or if you let it thaw later on, it takes about 8 hours to freeze completely. I can do 2 full batches with one of these. Could probably do even more. This is still frozen solid, to be honest, or at least it feels like it. But I could at least do 2 full batches of this at 16 ounces each, and then it would take an hour to refreeze. So it's a really cool system. It requires no brains, no thinking. You can just take your regular coffee that you brew, like if you start the morning. One thing that could be fun is brew your batch of coffee, have your first cup hot, and then freeze the rest, pour it in a travel tumbler, and now you have iced coffee on the go. Really cool. So I really, really like this device, this Cold Wave, because I am taking coffee that I can brew perfectly with regular brewing methods and making it into iced coffee without any dilution. You're getting the full taste range of the coffee. It's just very chilled and very delicious. So that's the Cold Wave. If you have any interest in iced coffee, I highly, highly recommend getting one of these. I can't imagine anything being simpler or better to make iced coffee at home than the Cold Wave. It's that good. I could, of course, add ice to this, and because it's already at 40 degrees, yes, eventually the ice is all gonna melt, but you're probably gonna finish your coffee before you really get any dilution from the ice. So you can have a nice, like, full ice coffee beverage for quite some time. So that's the Cold Wave. Now, I've linked below to where you can buy the Cold Wave. I'm selling this on the Coffee Lovers online store. You can go buy it there. It's $39.99 and shipping is free. I'm planning on doing some really fun stuff with this over the holidays as well. I like to make coffee cocktails, but using hot coffee for that is a bit of a challenge. So this is the absolute perfect solution. I can explore different flavors of cocktails using all different kinds of coffee, chill the coffee, and then you just combine it with various ingredients. And this is gonna be really cool. Actually, I imagine that the barista competitions where they do make cocktails, I imagine that they're gonna start employing the Cold Wave, or if there are other products like the Cold Wave, something like that. This is also a really great thing to use if you want to cook with coffee. Depending on the recipe, sometimes the liquids you need to add cold. So this works. In the past, what I would have done with cocktails and cooking is I would use cold brew. But now I can make the perfectly tasting coffee, and it's iced really fast. Can you tell that I really like this? Because I really do like the Cold Wave. So go grab one. Links below the video where you can get your Cold Wave. You can also visit shop.coffeeloversmag.com and pick one up today. Cheers.